Nerd Reactor, roll out.
What's up, Reactorize? I'm John.
I'm Mike.
And it's the moment you guys might not have been waiting for. It's us. We're going to be talking about Wonder Woman and whether we enjoyed it or not. So let's dig right in. Let's talk about all the details. This will be very spoiler-ish. So if you haven't seen the movie yet or you don't want to be spoiled, tune away. So Wonder Woman, if you don't know, Gal Gadot. Yeah. She stars Diana Prince. Wonder Woman. It's directed by Patty Jenkins. She did Monster. So I enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There were more parts that I enjoyed than others. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I didn't hate the movie. It's a good movie. I think it's easily to say that it's the best DC movie so far of the expanded universe. Yeah, and I think this movie could have been great. I think this movie could have been like one of the best superhero movies
of all time.
Yeah. But there was a point where it kind of took a turn for me, and then it kind of lost me.
So we can get to that later. So you would say that your favorite part's like the first act and the second act?
First act is really good. Like, I mean, it's a hard, and it's not a hard concept to sell. It's just like, it's nothing we've ever seen on TV, or not TV, but movies, they had to, show you and introduce you to Diana Prince as far as like, how she became, Wonder Woman. I didn't want to just be like too like heavily like handed like girl power. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just make it feel natural. And I think that's what they really did with that first part, because you really get a sense of the culture of the Amazons.
Yeah, you watch them how they are and they're training. You're like, okay, these people, they're tough, they're warriors, and it's not like they just show it. Yeah, and that just is pretty cool. And later on, when they're fighting the Germans, it's like, oh, it's going, it's happening. Yeah, like, you want to see this, you want to see them. It's kind of like when you see the 300 Spartans, when they're marching against the millions of Persians. That's what you want to see, like the feel against these guys with the guns, and just see them tear shit up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I kind of felt too. I felt like this was kind of like remind me a lot of like 300. And just like the whole journey of Diana and like her just like being so motivated by what she sees and what she's around, and then just kind of like she's got this I wouldn't say idealism, but she's got this thing she wants to be. She wants to get stronger. She wants to be like everybody else, where everybody can fight. And, and so you watch her train, and I love that like when she's young, she's like training in secret because her mother won't allow her to train, so she kind of like, but when you watch it, you can tell like, I mean, obviously she's taking it easy on her, but she's allowing her to even get the idea of like training, and then as she gets older, it gets more difficult, and it gets more difficult, and it gets more difficult, and that's I liked watching that, like that progression of her character. Yeah.
And I do like enjoying the world of Themyscira, and just like that, it's beautiful. Yeah, like the shots, just the island and the details behind it. And just people walking around and their horses, and just people doing their thing, and just seeing the potential of Diana. Like she wants to be more, and like you said, she's training in secret. So her mom, like Hippolyta, is just saying like she didn't want Wonder Woman to train because she cares about her. As a daughter, and it's like, this is my baby. I don't want her to go out there and just fight. Like, I want to protect her, like, parents.
Yeah, she didn't want the same life that she had, and, the whole war thing, but, she didn't really tell her who she was in terms of, like, her heritage as far as where she comes from. But, it was obvious that she didn't want her to be like that as far as, like, being a warrior, being drenched in warfare and stuff like that. So it was interesting, and it's like they kind of like secluded themselves away from everybody. It kind of reminded me of like, I don't know, I can't think of anything. I was gonna say,
reminds you of nothing.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Thor, like the Asgardians. Remember they talked about how they used to like kind of they protected the Vikings or whatever,
Yeah.
because the Vikings worshipped him, and then at a certain point they just stopped. They they cut off all contact with mankind.
Yeah.
You know, like they just stayed away from afar. They figured that it was better for them.
Yeah, with Thor, it's just like they came down, and then the people there worship them as gods. And here it's just pretty much Diana's mom tells the story of Zeus, how he creates man. And so in this version of the DCEU, man is created by Zeus.
We're gonna have any triggered Christians and Catholics out there, or any other religion?
Yeah,
I can't watch these movies anymore.
Yeah.
It's blasphemous.
But yeah, so that means like everyone, like I guess Batman and all that,
Yeah.
they came from Zeus. But that's Greek mythology. So Greek mythology, Zeus creates a man, and he creates the other gods. He creates children, and here we see that in a way. The story back then looks very cool, like very stylized.
Yeah, the motion graphics, that was really cool. Like I can't even think of anything to compare it to, but that was like beautiful. Like
it reminds me of those paintings of those Greek paintings just come to life, and Zeus up in the sky. You see Mount Olympus, and then you see like Ares. So Ares looks cool, like they're fighting. I like that.
Yeah, and then you give me was it Michelangelo's David?
Like those type. Like that. It's like, is that where E.T. got it from?
But and they did that in that style. It was really cool looking, and they kind of tell you that story of how the Amazons and how they came to be. And then all of a sudden you have Steve Trevor that comes into the mix.
Oh yeah, Steve Trevor is. It's just like the plane just comes out of nowhere. It's kind of like he's just came out of a portal, and he crashes in the ocean. And like in the trailer, you see Diana. She sees that. After having a conflict with the Amazons, so she's just escaping. She's contemplating life and all that. So she sees the plane. She jumps down. She saves Steve Trevor, and there, it's like first time seeing a man. She's just enthralled by him. Like she's looking at him, and he's like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
Yeah, and like and then this all leads to that battle scene that you kind of get a glimpse of in the trailer where they're on the beach, and that was really cool.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Like them, going one-on-one with the German army, and that whole battle. Unfortunately, at the end of it, Diana loses her anti-V, and I like the way that they did her death scene. Because it wasn't very like
drawn out,
not very dramatic. It was just like very gritty, and like she just died without. She wanted to say something to Diana, but she couldn't because she's dead. And
all she said was just get the stuff.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah, but I mean that's for what? What am I supposed to do? Like nothing. Like she didn't reveal who she was. Like there's still so much mystery left. And like that's all she could really give her, and she died. And I was like, it was tragic. I was like, oh man, that sucks, especially knowing their history and like seeing her, train her as a little girl and then having her die right in there. It was like, oh, that's sad,
Yeah, and you can see how the Germans and the Amazons, how their dynamic is. So the Amazons, they can get taken out by bullets and all that, but they're still fierce and strong, so they can still do cool stuff. Like in Taipei, just jumping out with the arrows, just like that. See, some parts were cool, like that slow-mo in the sky. But then when it hits the Germans and then they drop down, I was like, that was kind of cheesy because that one guy ruined it for me at least. The guy in the middle, he's like,
They didn't do like I don't know, like they didn't do enough Foley art where it's like the, like you just kind of like.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple of times where somebody got hit with an arrow and it was just like like no, like oh, or like the Wilhelm scream.
Just I guess more these guys, I wish they did a better job of selling it.
Yeah, because it's just like they just fell over, and it's like you don't hear the arrow. I guess arrows really don't make a sound, anyways.
Yeah. But it's still kind of like funny. The guys like they just
they're just like.
Yeah. Other than that, like the whole battle was cool. I enjoyed it. Just them, just low tech versus high tech. Just skill versus machinery.
Yeah. and then they interrogate Steve Rogers.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Steve Trevor. They interrogate him, and I like the way that they use the lasso of truth. They don't call it by name, like the lasso of truth. It's like the lasso of 1,000 something or other. I forgot what she says, but it's better than just this is the lasso of truth.
Yeah, this is it. And I love the effect it has. Like usually it was just you have it, you wrap it around them, and they're like, hey, I'll just tell you anything. But here, Steve Trevor, he's struggling. Yeah. And it's funny because he's a spy, and a spy's job is to keep secrets. So he was like, but then he had to say it because it's the lasso of truth. And he's like, yeah, I'm a spy. That was like so. Yeah, Chris Pine did a great job of just playing Steve Trevor.
Like he just the fact that you're in pain because you're not telling the truth is interesting. Yeah, and it added a different dynamic to it and made it seem less hokey. Yeah, and I remember thinking I was like, well, they can't call it by the name, and I mean they didn't, and they did a good job of just like still keeping it pretty grounded, but then at the same time they still like pulled that out when they needed to. The whole truth thing, but I mean,
it just the whole time Steve Trevor's in Themyscira. It's just he's like, wow, this is kind of cool. There's a part where he's in this pool. Yeah, he's like, yeah, and that pool looks gorgeous. Yeah, it's like I want to be there. I want a skinny dip. And so he's pretty much just taking a bath. He's naked, and there's a part where he just stands up and tries to grab this thing, and then Diana walks in. He's like, oh, what's this? So I'm thinking, like, is she... Because she hasn't seen, like, a man before. Yeah. So she has to be very interested in his package, It's just like, hey, it's something different.
What is that?
What is that?
Growth.
Yes. But he's fit, and it's just... He's like covering himself. So they actually show, like, his full body, but him covering it. I was like, oh, that's great. That was a great moment.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that they hinted at something... Not until like now. They hinted that she can't be hurt by bullets. Remember, like there's that thing where she's with one of the other Amazons, and they're like tending to her wounds.
She got grazed. There was blood.
But then the scar was gone. There was no scar. Like there was blood, but then there was nothing.
That's true, huh?
Yeah. So I wonder if she's just like. Well, I guess
maybe she can heal fast. Well, she is a
god.
Yeah, she's a god. Yeah, this is spoiler. Okay. We know in the movie she's a god. Yeah, she is a son of Zeus. Yeah, but I love the way
she's a son of Zeus.
I mean, the daughter. If she wants to, she wants to become a man.
I assumed her gender.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, daughter of Zeus. Yeah. So I love how they combine two different origin stories, because you have the newer origin story where she's the daughter of Zeus, and then you have the classic one where she's just made of clay. Her mom makes her from clay, and then Zeus just makes her come to life. Like, hey, it's me. That's how it is. Boom! I'm Wonder Woman.
Wow.
So, but yeah, this is cool because in the beginning she says like, Diana, you're clay, and you came to life. Yeah. And now she's pretty much a goddess, a demigod. Yeah. So that would explain things, why she's more powerful than the other Amazons. Yeah. As you can see, when they're fighting, they're doing that battle. She's taking on all these Amazons, and there's a part where Antiope tries to hit her, and then bam, like she goes flying back. And that was like just a cool moment, just showing her potential.
Yeah, and like I really liked all the stuff that was on Themyscira. Like all that part was cool. And then even once they left that, and like them going to London, and just her being her, like she's basically fish out of water, or like woman at a time.
Yeah. Well, before that, we got to talk about the boat scene.
Oh, which about the boat? Oh,
the boat scene where he's making her a bed on the boat. Yeah. And it's like, here, you can sleep here, and it's like, where are you going? I'm being a gentleman, and all that. It's like, is that a thing you do? Like, if you have to like have a barrier or something like that. So, and then he was like at the end. she's like trying to say like your ways are weird. It's like, what? Fine. You want me to sleep with you? I'll sleep with you. That's like one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, they had a really good chemistry together, and I think that really helped out the movie in terms of them, just them going back and forth and playing off each other, and then her being, she's naive to this new world.
Yeah.
But she's so strong in her beliefs and like what she needs to do is she needs to do what's right.
Yeah.
And what's right is to kill Ares, and like that's her like mission, that's her goal, and that's her.
So she doesn't
tract.
Yeah. So all these rules and regulations from other worlds, like she doesn't care about that. Like she's from her own world. Like what needs to be done will be done.
Yeah. And it's interesting how that like plays out, especially when she kind of comes over into the real world.
The world of man.
The world of man and London and tea and crumpets and.
It's funny too because, before that she has to like steal the shield, the sword, the god killer, and the lasso and all that. So she has the robe on. So she's walking around in London with the outfit. So Steve Trevor's trying to cover up. What are you doing? What are you wearing? You can't go out like that. So they have to like go and to a clothing store and get her proper.
Yeah, and like I think they did a good job. Like obviously, that this is going to be very girl power. I think girl power, woman powered, eccentric. But then I think with the way that they said it and the time they said it in, it was very accurate to like the way that she was kind of oppressed.
Oh yeah.
And and especially when there's a scene where she goes into this war. What do we get? War room or
like a war? A room where you can discuss about war. So you can call it a war room.
Yeah, and they're just like, what is she doing here?
Is that a woman?
A woman?
My God. The nerve. Get her out of here.
Somebody put up those little binoculars. Is that a woman in the room?
Yeah. But it's cool because she's like, what, Steve, like, why are you letting these guys dictate things? Like, we got to get this stuff done, and you have an idea, we should do it, and don't let these guys bring you down.
Yeah, I think my favorite part with food, especially like when she's in that area or in London, is when she kind of calls out the general and she's like, you're a coward.
Yes. You're busy behind your desk while your soldiers are fighting for you.
Yeah.
Like where we came from, the general is there fighting with us. Yeah. It's like, damn. Wow. Take that.
Yeah, and that's true though. Like at one point in time, like, kings would fight alongside their armies. Like,
King Arthur.
Genghis
Khan.
Yeah, like he would go out there, he'd be riding on a horse and take over Mongolia.
Or even King Leonidas fought with his fellow Spartans. The king was there.
Yeah, it's like obviously now it's like it's so.
They got the war room.
They have a room
away from the war,
away from the bullets.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just now because they're the people that strategize, so they need to be safe. So like if they're dead, it's like now what? But it's just how it is now.
Yeah.
So it's all about playing smart and being a coward.
Yeah.
And then it's just cool. It's just her just discovering London. Just like there was a part where she's walking around and she sees a baby. Oh my God, a baby! It's like I'll probably be like that too. Like I've never seen a baby I'm stumbling with my words because I've never seen a baby before. So she sees it. She just wants to go up and just cuddle in and all that. So this is cool just to see like her eyes, her fresh eyes. Like, oh, this is so awesome. I want to be able to experience all of it.
Well, yeah, and then I think did they say that she was the only child?
Yeah, she was the only child in Themyscira.
Yeah, in Themyscira. So no other children were in Themyscira. So obviously, I think that would be a big thing for her. Yeah, like London, and then eventually them getting their Howling Commando team together.
You got the movie wrong. That was Captain America.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, Steve Trevor's group, his ragtag team of misfits.
Ragtag team of commandos, you would say?
They're howling.
They did kind of howl once, right?
They're very diverse.
They're very diverse.
I think I like them better than the Howling Command is, because you get a lot of insight into each character.
Yeah, and I think they get more screen time because Wonder Woman, it has a long running time, and it really builds up on the first and second act. Like, you really get to learn about people. You really get to learn about Wonder Woman when she's in Themyscira. You get to learn about once she gets to London, like the way the world is and the team and when they talk and all that. And that's what I really love. They really give you the time to flesh these characters out.
Right. And yeah, like Samir is like this crafty guy. He's like kind of like a con artist.
Yeah.
And he's obviously like of Middle Eastern descent. And you find out that like all he really wants to do, like he can speak all these languages, but all he really wants to do is he wants to act. He wants to be an actor. He
wants to be an actor.
But because the color of his skin, it's not possible. It's like it's not going to happen for him, especially at that time.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Like you learn.
I didn't know that was a big thing back then. Like in World War I era, like the 1910s. Like people were aspiring actors, I guess.
I mean, I think they're probably. He wasn't talking about like movie, but like plays.
Theater.
Yeah. But I mean, even that, I'm sure it was hard for anybody of his color or anybody of color to try to get.
Well, depending on where you want to perform. If you want to perform in the
Bollywood place.
Yeah, if you're anywhere in the Middle East, it might be fine. But I guess if he was raised in the Western civilization countries and all that, it might be tough.
Yeah. And you got Chief. Chief is he's Native American.
Yeah.
He's come over and he's profiting off the war.
He's profiting off the war. Yeah, they even talk about how Diana was like, "What? You're okay with this profiting?" It's like, dude, this is not even like my war. I'm just like the outsider. And I'm gonna fight for his war. He's the one that took my land. And when he mentioned him, he pointed at Steve Trevor, like the white man.
The white man. Gotta keep your eyes on the white man.
So that was kind of interesting. So you get his view on that, and like Wonder Woman is experiencing all this firsthand on how everything is. There's so many complex things happening.
Right, yeah, because she went from not knowing any of this to all of a sudden just being bombarded by it.
Yeah.
And then, he also got Charlie, he's obviously got some PTSD, and he's also, he looks like he's an alcoholic, but that may have to do with the PTSD, because he kind of wakes up in the middle of the night and he like screams out loud.
Yeah.
Because the chief says he sees ghosts, which I think he means he's seeing or having flashbacks of when he may have lost people in war.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's a lot, and when they have their first big victory, he like sings, and it's like, oh, that's the first time I've seen Charlie sing in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like just little things that help like build these characters.
Yeah, they're all likable characters too.
Yeah.
And as the team, they got the team. Finally, they get to go to the front. The big front. And this is like no man's land. And throughout that, as they're walking towards there, they can see just the horrors of war. And I think out of all, like we've seen this in Captain America: First Avengers, where he's in World War II, but we really don't get to see the horrors of war in that one. Mm-hmm. And this one, I'm glad that they did that. It showed like people suffering. And Diana, she just wants to help them out. Like, why can't we help them out? What's going on? It's like, and Steve Trevor's like, no, we got to keep going. We can't help everyone.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like, she's just felt powerless, and she wants to help people.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, I mean, obviously we've never seen that in any comic book movie, but like, I mean, you can't help but compare this to Captain America. But Captain America did not have that, where it was just like, you just saw a montage of Captain America kicking ass.
Yeah. It's just all about kicking ass, and they didn't really show much. Like, they showed, like, the only time I can think of where you feel bad is like when he saves Bucky, and when he saves the people that are in prison. Like, it's like, oh, that sucks, But he's out there and he saved them anyway, so everyone has a they're all happy, and he's walking, and all of them are walking behind him, and they play that song. So that's that. But here, oh my God, it's like the horses. She's worried about the horses. Why are they hitting the horses? And there's like there's a child all alone. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, especially for somebody who's never seen anything like this, to just be like,
she's never probably heard of people dying, like just probably from the tales that her mom told her, like about war and all that, and all she knows, like in what she's seen, just training. That's it.
Yeah. and like she's seeing it for the first time, like right in her face. People are just dying left and right, and there's nothing she can do, and there's nothing she can do to kind of, or there is something she can do to stop it. but at the time, you know, they tell her there's nothing they can do, and you know they're right at, you know, no man's land, which is basically, you know, nobody goes over there. That's why they call it no man's land. I just want to say I'm glad she didn't say like, why I'm no man or something.
I am no man.
This is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like man as in just people, you know, like
Yeah.
no man's land. But she's like, you know what? I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like I think I can pull it off. I've seen what I can do when I'm climbing to get the sword and all that.
I didn't know she could do it. I was like, see, we saw her climb. I mean, I saw her definitely, you know, train. I don't know if she can take on like a bunch of different bullets.
Yeah.
But she did, and she like kicked ass. And I really like that scene. I like that whole
that build up. Like
build-up.
like other superhero movies, when they do the build up when they're first doing their heroic act, like where everyone's seeing them, it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. But when this one happened, I was like, wow, this is kind of emotional. I got almost teary eyed. Like, wow.
Yeah, like it's very empowering. And
it is empowering because everyone's losing. This no man's land. Like they're at a stalemate, and there's life. You know, people's lives are on the line, and she's able to just push them forward and rally up the whole crew to fight. Like she gave them something to believe in.
Right, and like the whole, you know, her just marching forward, and then like everybody just kind of like looking and watching her move forward. Didn't that happen in Legends of Tomorrow?
Yeah, it did. Huh?
It did.
Yes.
It happened in Legends of Tomorrow. This movie copied Legends of Tomorrow. It could be just coincidence.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, that was a crazy scene. Just her against the Germans, the gunfire, her shield. And I know our group, some of them had some issues with the shield. Like, why don't the Germans just aim down at her legs?
Well, I think that's why, like, the whole thing about the blood thing, that's why I kind of like this. I didn't register it until now, but now I mean, it's whatever. It's, you know, she's a superhero.
Yeah.
Anyways, and she's a god. Spoiler alert. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But, I mean, yeah. But I didn't figure, like, anything like that was going to happen anyways. Like, where they were going to be like, ah.
But then they did try to aim down, remember?
Yeah.
And then she had to duck down. So they kind of add that, like, maybe it's like, oh, I'm shooting, but nothing's happening. Slowly, let's see. Oh, she's moving the shield down too.
But yeah, it was a really good scene, and
Yeah.
her just, like, you know, charging forward.
Yeah. It was a great moment.
And, like, when she takes out everybody in the trenches, it reminds me, like, well, the thing I noticed, like, she never, like, once used
Lethal force.
Well, not lethal, but like as far as like she never used any of the guns. Like, and then she always kind of had like this perturbed look at anybody that was using the guns.
You think so?
I don't know. That's what I noticed.
Because during that time, okay, she leaps into the other side's trenches and just takes them all out, and then Steve Trevor comes down to it, and
yeah, like and she was just like, what?
It's like, all right, I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah, because he's just like.
Yeah. But then she, you know, when she's fighting with the sword, I'm pretty sure she probably killed someone.
Yeah.
It's just like slicing.
No, it's like Batman with his car with the gun. It's it puts him to sleep.
Yeah. But I think with Wonder Woman, she's not too concerned about like just she has to get the job done. She's not like Batman or Superman. Like you can't hurt, you know, end a person's life.
Yeah, but you know the whole that whole scene I thought was great. Like from her going from no man's land to, you know, the trenches, from the trenches until the village, where she was just like getting them all out of the village, and like Steve Trevor and the gang were just trying to play catch up with her.
Yeah,
like that whole scene and that whole sequence was great.
Yeah,
like
and I love that how Steve Trevor and the gang they know like, oh, you know, there's a part in the village. Once they bypass the trench, there's a sniper. It's like, oh man, how do we get that sniper? So they used some teamwork, and they got together, and they had Wonder Woman jump on top of them to launch her up. Mm-hmm. Go straight to that tower, boom, sniper. God, that was a great moment. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that sniper's out cold.
Like, it kind of reminded me of Saving Private Ryan.
That one scene, yeah.
Yeah,
if only they had Wonder Woman on her side.
Tom Hanks would still be alive.
Yeah. Like, a part of me wondered, like, when she went through that, what if there was like kids in there?
Oh. Well, there's people in the church.
Yeah. Like, what if they're praying? You know, there goes that. But that's what I was thinking, that like, what if? But I'm pretty sure there aren't.
Yeah.
But it's cool with that. After that, everyone's happy. Yeah. Everyone's thanking her, like, thank you so much. And Steve Trevor was like, Diana, like, this is all you. And Diana was like, no, this is us. I'm like, teamwork. That was a good moment. That's just her being humble.
And you finally get to see where they get that picture where Bruce finds that picture.
Oh yeah, the picture in Batman v Superman where she's with the team, standing, black and white photo. And that scene, that whole, just the aftermath of that battle, like, it's one of my favorite moments, just because she gets to have some alone time with Steve Trevor, the dancing, and then others, and just hearing the team just celebrating. You know, you have Charlie singing, and the snow. She discovers, I guess, snow for the first time because she's never seen snow.
Yeah,
and it's just a beautiful moment.
It was a magical moment.
Yeah,
it was a Clay 13 Reasons Why moment.
Are you 13 Reasons Why fans?
And luckily, Steve Trevor, he got his moment.
He did.
Unlike Clay, but
yeah,
but yeah,
it was a really good moment because it really takes the time just to take a break and just learn more about the characters and just have them together. Like, you don't really see that a lot with the other superhero movies.
No. And yeah, it was really good. It really slowed the movie down just enough to, you know, give you a little bit more insight, and then showing how much, you know, Diana and Steve Trevor's relationship has grown and where it's going, and, you know, what happens next.
Yes, we got excited. That moment, them together, and then just looking at each other in the eyes, like when they're dancing, they're like really close. Like, yeah, this. Look at that! Wow, this is getting heated. It's gonna get intense later. Steve Trevor, once they're in the room, like, she gives him that doughy eye.
She gives him the look.
That look.
You see that look, you're like, it's go time.
It's go time. Yeah. He closes. Like, there was a moment, like, you weren't sure, like, if he's gonna be, like, allowing her to sleep, so he's gonna, like, close the door and, like, let her sleep. But then he goes in front of the door, and then he closes it behind him. You're like, oh, shit.
She's like, show me that weird growth on your body.
Yeah, but, yeah, that was good. So after that, it's time for the next act.
Yeah, so this is where I started to have problems. Well, no, I don't have problems with the whole... It's after the whole, like, castle scene and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's where I started. Oh yeah, what did you think of basically Stryker, German Stryker?
German Stryker. Was it Danny Houston? Well, there's a villain. You know, they get. I think they get more screen time than the other villains.
Yeah.
But here, they're pretty one-dimensional. So there's not much I can say about them other than he's there. He's evil. There was a moment where
oh yeah, that was the best moment
where they're killing all the generals in the war room.
Yeah,
and you know, Dr. Poison throws the poison, and then he throws the gas mask, and she's like, "Why did you throw the gas mask in there?" It's like, they don't know it works.
Yeah, they're like laughing to each other, like ah.
And then we look at each other, we're laughing like. That was like their best moment, and I wish there was like more like that.
Yeah,
but it's just them. They're there just to be the enemy and create something like, oh, Dr. Poison with the poison. You gotta stop that, or else millions of more is gonna die.
Yeah, and like Dr. Poison, like she's such a one-note villain.
Yeah,
and like I think they try to build her, like in retrospect, like looking back at it now and looking where her character goes.
Yeah,
it's just like they did not do a good job of building her.
They probably could have done more with her.
Yeah.
Like, they really could have done more if they
were going to do what they did with her. Like, it kind of, you know what she kind of reminds me of? But, like, I liked this character better because he was just like, he was a one-note villain, but like I think he served his purpose. Was what's his name from Hellboy, the creepy guy, the crazy Nazi guy with all the blades, where he's like,
oh yeah,
yeah, like he doesn't even say anything.
He just this is one of those like soldiers that are just the henchman that's badass.
Yeah,
like another badass henchman would be like, you know, Darth Maul type. You know, he's just there, he's kicking ass, but he's serving Darth Sidious.
Right. So. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she just kind of was there. She was making this stuff, and then
it would have been cool if they did some of the backstory for her, like
how the face
one of the face thing, or one of the versions where she hates the you know, the other side, the Americans, whatever, for ruining her life. Yeah. So maybe if they added just some kind of backstory for her.
Yeah, something to make it seem like, okay, well, she's not all that bad. And,
yeah.
And, you know, later on it will come into play, but they didn't do anything for her for that.
Yeah. So probably just not enough screen time. Yeah. They want to focus on just Diana and her story and Steve Trevor and his team, because that's really the best part of the film, just them just coming together.
Yeah, and then Danny Houston, he's basically a one-note villain too, and you know, you think he's Ares, because you know, Diana keeps talking about Ares, and she believes if she kills Ares that the war will end. It's just like, this will be the end of the war when she kills him. And so there's a twist later, but we'll save that for later, I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about it now.
Okay.
Let's talk about Ares. The whole time, you know, that's the reason why Diana's there. She's looking for Ares. Ares, he's the one that just caused the downfall of the gods, and he's still alive. And during the whole time, we thought it was the general.
Right.
And it wasn't him.
Who was it, John?
It's... What's his name?
It's some old British guy.
Old British guy. One of the actors, David Thewlis, but
Sir Patrick Morgan. Actually part of the British... war room cabinet. And yeah, you meet him early on, and I actually thought that was like, I was like, it can't be Danny Houston.
Yeah,
it's like, it's too obvious.
It was a good twist, like as in where like, oh, it's someone else that's on their side.
Yeah,
and he shows up and he's all mysterious, like, oh, how are you here? That's cool. But then you think about it as like, they could have gotten someone else as Ares.
I don't know why, but like I don't know why when I think of Ares, I don't see the actor, and they didn't really do him any favors. Like I thought, like I don't know why. I always think of maybe because of God of War. I don't remember like the way they portrayed Ares.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they definitely had at one point you see him in the armor.
Yeah,
and it's how he looks in most of the
in the comics, or even in Injustice. So that armor looked really cool.
Yeah, but then like when they do close-ups of his face,
it's still the actor with the mustache, and he does not have that cool or intimidating face, because you see him as you know, it's a guy from Harry Potter or the guy from Dragonheart.
Yeah, and it's like, oh god, and they don't do anything with his voice or anything like to make him seem more threatening. Like they don't do nothing with his voice. He's just exactly the same.
You know what would have been a cool Ares if they hired him, if they want to go with that British route? Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy?
Yeah,
that would have been good. I was thinking of Idris Elba, but he's already Heimdall.
Yeah,
but he's got that booming voice, you know, like somebody with a good voice to, you know, seem more menacing.
Or even Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been good. Daniel Craig.
He would have been a good guy in the war room, like talking, discussing, like, hey, you know, we got to do this and that, and later shows up, yeah, it's me.
Like that.
Yes, just like that.
Like, even like if you were to look at Daniel Craig and you didn't know him, you'd be like, I'm not sure if that guy's a good guy or a bad guy.
So would you think that he might be Ares? Like,
I don't
you wouldn't
know.
think, right? Like,
no.
See, they could have done where he's helping out Steve Trevor. He's charming, like, hey, you know, I'll help you out with this and all that. And later on, he shows his intimidating side. Like, when he's intimidating, he looks intimidating.
Yeah,
like so he could like just tear off his shirt, like, you know, towards Wonder Woman. And then just do that stare. Yes. I am Ares. And that, I think that would... See? Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
It would have been great.
Should have been Ares. Because I didn't like David Thewlis,
Thewlis,
as Ares. It just... the reveal, like, I mean, I didn't see the reveal come in, but then, well, actually, I did after
this. Once you start finding out, like, hey, the war is still happening.
Yeah, well, yeah, Danny Houston dies, but then, like, I thought, like, there's this thing that they did a pretty good job of, like, making you think he might have been because of the whole, like, he's doing this weird, like, drug he's taking.
The drug, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I wonder if that's something that's, like, influencing him, like, or waking Ares inside of him. I don't know.
I kind of thought that too, because like if he was really Ares, he doesn't need a drug like that. He just is.
Yeah, but like he kept getting redder and his eyes got all black, and I was like, okay, maybe he is Ares. And then when she's dead, it's like, okay, well. I thought the movie for a second, I thought they were gonna be like, well, there is no Ares, or Ares died, and like people are just shitty, and war just happens.
Yeah, but. The funny part was like the battle, you know, Ares versus Wonder Woman. I kind of like it. It kind of felt too much, but I can't figure out a better way for them to do it, because you have to show how Ares is powerful. He's the god of war. You know, he can influence people, and he's got the armor. I like that they gave him the armor. Mm-hmm. He can just do all kinds of stuff.
It's hard to do that fight style, because it's like. It just reminds me of when we watched Man of Steel, then we watched Batman vs Superman. At one point, you're just like, "What's going on?" Like, you don't really. It doesn't gravitate like how things are happening, and then they're just people are just jumping around and flying around.
Yeah, so there's like no weight to it.
Yeah, there's no weight to it, and especially like now, where we watch movies where, or stuff like John Wick, where every punch matters, and it's like everything has purpose and people get worn down, or like Daredevil, you watch that hallway fight scene, it's like by the end of it you're like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you feel exhausted. Yeah, so it's like it's all about relatability, I think. Like you relate to the punches more, and they're human. Like when Daredevil fights, he still gets tired, and you get that with like even Captain America. He's not like super powerful like Thor or whatnot, so it's still enjoyable to watch the fight scenes. And with this Wonder Woman, like the fight scene where she's going up against the Germans, like behind enemy line and all that was cool. Just using her sword and just punching left and right. So you feel the weight there. So yeah, once she's fighting Ares, so all bets are off, and then they're flying all over the place. So like nobody's getting hurt until she flies, and she's got the power of Zeus with her, or she's not affected by lightning and all that because she's the daughter.
Yeah.
But I do like that they're powerful. They show like they are both gods. Powerful, and I do like how she defeats him, because she's showing her powers, like just doing whatever it is that she's doing, shooting her thing at him.
How was it again?
It's like. But I like that compared to, let's say, oh, here's a sword through your chest.
Isn't that how Doomsday died? Or when stabbed Clark.
It's teamwork. I saw that. But yeah, and then I like the line that she says, like, brother. It's like, oh, okay, so now she realizes that you are my brother.
Yeah.
So she is the daughter of Zeus.
Yeah, and I feel like. I don't know. It's just because it's something. I think it's just the fighting style. It's because it's hard to go from the first two acts to this, because it's more them going one-on-one, who are both supreme beings, and they just kind of bounce around, and like nothing really impacts them until that one final blow. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. Okay, so you guys talk about Steve Steve Rogers.
Yeah. So okay, there's a scene where Steve, the plane's going off with a bunch of deadly weapons, and you gotta stop it before it reaches kills more innocent people.
Okay, go ahead.
And so he goes off there, and Steve Trevor pretty much sacrifices himself for the greater good, and he wants to do it so that Wonder Woman can save more lives later on.
Right. So I don't understand is they said that because it's the helium that's flammable that it'll explode, and it should take care of the gas, right? But then couldn't he just done that on the ground?
Well, the ground, it's a big explosion, so it would kill the people there. Or you would rather him kill the Germans and his friends?
I don't know.
It's better. It's either on the ground where he dies or up in the sky where he dies anyway, but no one else on the ground dies too.
Okay, because I was like, I didn't understand, because I thought it was just because of the gas that he was worried about, but that was like, wait a minute, the warehouse blew up. How come they're not affected by the gas?
Probably all the gas was in there.
All the gas.
All of it
was in there.
Yeah.
None left.
Yes.
Not a single drop. And then, yeah, so he takes the gas, explodes the airplane, and we get a Wonder Woman's version of a Darth Vader no.
I don't think it was that bad as Darth Vader's no. Like, it was more like, it's like, yeah,
It wasn't good. It wasn't as bad. It didn't look good. Like, I don't know, the way that they shot it didn't look good. Like, I know what they were trying to go for.
I think what you wanted was more like, see a shot of Steve Trevor, the plane blows up, and they're just really mad, like, is that what you want to see? Like, mad and just wham!
Yeah,
and then just really beat the crap out of Ares.
Yeah, and so that whole scene with her reaction to Steve Trevor's death, like, I didn't get all emotional over it, because when they did these like really intense close-up shots of her, and it was all like in slow motion, and like it just showed that she's just not that great of an actor. Like, I'm just saying she's horrible. She's okay, but like her facial expressions, like they try to make her look like, I don't know, like she's like struggling with whatever this is happening, and then she's just like all alone.
Yeah.
And there's this orange backdrop of like whatever, like smoke.
Yeah.
And she's just like, and it just didn't do her any favors, and it was like a lot of slow mo, and then this is all with British Ares voiceover, and that doesn't help either. And she almost kills Dr. Poison, but like as we were saying earlier, they didn't do a good job of building her character. So like the fact that she lets her go, I'm like, I really didn't care.
Yeah. Like, if they showed more backstory, then you're like, okay, all right. If she learned more about Dr. Poison, but it's just, here's Dr. Poison, and Ares like, just kill her. She's like, no, she's it could have been done in a better way.
Yeah. And
for me, I got emotional by the scenes with Steve Trevor, just because I like Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, and I didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
And that shot of his face close up as he's pointing the gun, I was like, oh God, he's looking at me with those eyes. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, and it's like he almost had to like talk himself into it, like like he wasn't. He realized. I'm glad he didn't have anything to say. Like it wasn't like Captain America, but like like he didn't have some like quote to say, or like have the radio
so when's our next dance, or when are you gonna take us to the next level and all that?
We'll dance to something slow.
I like that scene in Captain America.
It is a good scene. Yeah. I almost cried during that scene. But I mean, it's just like a bittersweet ending.
Yeah.
It's like nothing they can do. And then she doesn't even know what he was saying until later. Like they had to do that whole flashback because she got hit with the bombs, and then she couldn't even hear what he said. And he gave her the watch, and then she took off.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way that they played out that scene. I think they could have done a way better job of what they were doing with the whole scenario. Mm-hmm. Like the way that they put it together, the way that it like worked out.
So you didn't like the just the whole thinking back again? So you would rather just have it play out normally and just have her hear it, and then later on just do it, and then you would still understand?
Yeah, I think it was just like too much just random things going on, because remember the first, like, I don't want to, you my mother was right about you, your men, and blah blah blah, and then she just doesn't want to fight. But then Ares happens, but then they're already trying to stop the bombs from happening, and then they're trying to fight, and then they're just like, whoa, what's going on over there? And then they're just fighting, and then what's his name happens to see Gal Gadot fall in front of him, but she can't hear him, and he's like, all right, bye. It goes, explodes.
I think the thing with that is they probably could have made it longer, because that scene was about Ares trying to convince Diana to join him that mankind is bad. And I guess the issue is that all of that came at the third act, at the very end, with Ares just trying to convince her. Like, if he was like a main person throughout the whole film, and then slowly influencing her, that would have had more impact. But they had to focus on certain things, so when they focused on that, it just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then the whole her at the end of when everything's, you know, kind of the dust settles and everything, like her whole belief and like the way she thinks now, and you know, they kind of do like a jump forward, but then like when you think about it, you're like, well, wait, what happened during the other wars?
Yeah.
World War II, hello Hiroshima, like the atomic bombs.
Captain America was there to take care of it.
Come on, like she was just like, oh yeah, they have darkness, but then there's like, what
maybe she did do stuff, we just don't know about it.
I don't know. It just
I think a better act would be save Ares for Wonder Woman Part 2.
Right.
And have the whole thing be about Ares. You learn more about him. And then just on this one, just focus more on Dr. Poison and having her be the main villain. But I guess people want to see Wonder Woman fight someone as strong as her. But you can do, like, make Dr. Poison kind of like the Lex Luthor of, like, the Superman, something like that.
I don't know.
Just figure something out, writers.
Figure out something good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know you definitely liked it more than I did. I really liked the first two acts. I was like, this movie is good. Like, this is really good. And then once the thing what I talked about and we talked about, it was like that moment where it's just like it just lost me. And then like I just kind of like, well, I mean, it could have been great. This could have been a really, really, really good overall comic book movie. It's still a good movie. I would recommend it, and if you haven't seen it, strongly recommend go and watch it, because I mean, even the idea, like the concept, you think like Wonder Woman movie, you're like, you see a Wonder Woman movie. Yeah, and they pulled it off. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. The third act, like, I didn't have a big problem with it as you did.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I still like the look of Ares. You know, they could have, Daniel Craig. I would have preferred that or anything like that. Or
Kevin Smith from
Hercules
Adventures or whatever.
Yeah, or even like just more backstory of Dr. Poison. Just flesh her out more, have her be more of a central character. Because you're already building up on her throughout the whole movie, so that I think would have been good if they did that.
Yeah, like the whole scene with her and Steve Trevor. Like, what was that all about? Like, I was like, is he gonna? They're gonna have sex? Like, is he trying to like something? You gonna honeypot her?
Yeah.
Like, are you honey dicking me right now?
Well, yeah, definitely, Wonder Woman. You already watched it. That's why you're watching this. So you already know what you thought of it. But we really liked the first and second act. That's great. Just her in Themyscira and her discovering London and the world of man. I just love those scenes. It's just the thing with the ice cream. I love that. It's something so simple because I love ice cream.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that. It's like, yes, eat the ice cream.
You see the ice cream, you eat it.
Yeah. And I like that when you get to see superheroes, they get to do regular things. Like, let's say in, like Captain America, Steve Rogers, he's just writing notes on what to do. Like, do this and that.
Yeah.
And, just stuff like that. It's just, or even like, that's why like one of my favorite superheroes, like Peter Parker, he's just doing regular, like after fighting crime, he has to do high school stuff, and it's just something that we can relate to. So this with Wonder Woman, ice cream, and seeing the cute baby and all that, those are just little scenes that I love.
Yeah, I strongly recommend you go check this out if you haven't seen it already, and if you have, well, here you know.
So yeah, let us know what you thought of the movie on the comments below. With that said, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
I'll see you guys next time.